Clothing isn't just about style. It's history you can wear. And in the Philippines, our traditional attire tells the story of who we are as a people. From the woven garments of our ancestors, to the elegance of the baro't saya, to the timeless Barong Tagalog, each piece carries centuries of culture, trade, and influence. Today, let's dive into the fascinating journey of traditional Filipino attire and discover how our clothing became a symbol of national pride. Long before the Spaniards arrived, Filipinos already had a vibrant culture of clothing and adornment. What we wore spoke volumes about our community, our rank, and even our sense of beauty. In the northern mountains, the Igorot and other highland groups crafted woven garments from abaca and plant fibers. These clothes were sturdy, perfect for the cool climate of the Cordilleras. Down in the lowlands, Tagalogs and Visayans wore the baro, a short blouse paired with a tapis or patadyong, a wraparound skirt that was both practical and elegant. Clothing was not uniform across the islands. Every region had its own distinct look, shaped by climate, lifestyle, and tradition. But one thing united them: the love of color, texture, and design. Chiefs and nobles showed off with bright fabrics and layers of gold jewelry, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, even beads and bells that decorated the body. Ordinary folk wore simpler cotton cloth, yet still carried their own sense of pride in how they dressed. Trade also shaped our early fashion. Chinese silks, glass beads from Indonesia, and textiles from Borneo and Japan found their way into our islands, blending foreign influence with local creativity. The result was a wardrobe that was uniquely Filipino, rooted in native tradition, but open to the world. For our ancestors, fashion wasn't vanity, it was identity. It told you who a person was, where they came from, and even their place in society. Both men and women loved to decorate themselves with gold jewelry, beads, and accessories. Necklaces, bracelets, earrings, even teeth and hair ornaments sparkled as symbols of wealth and identity. Unlike today's less is more, pre-colonial Filipinos believed the more bling-bling or accessories, the better. Fashion was about pride, tradition, and individuality. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, Filipino clothing began to change. The loose baro and tapis worn by native women were reshaped into something more modest, in line with Catholic ideals. Sleeves grew longer, the chest was covered with a pañuelo, and skirts, called saya, flowed to the ground. From these changes came the baro't saya, a blend of indigenous roots and Spanish influence, and the ancestor of today's Filipiniana. For the mestizas, or women of mixed heritage, the traje de mestiza appeared, layered, elegant, and made with fabrics like piña and silk from the Manila galleon trade. It wasn't just clothing anymore, it became a symbol of class, modesty, and Spanish authority. By the 1800s, the image of the Maria Clara, pure, graceful, and modest, embodied the ideals of Spanish-influenced Filipino fashion. What started as a simple adaptation of local clothes had become a cultural icon, still recognized today. By the late 1800s, fashion in the Philippines was changing. The traje de mestiza, with its sheer blouses, embroidered pañuelo, and wide skirts, was no longer just clothing. It was a symbol of identity. As the years passed, the sleeves grew larger, transforming into the dramatic butterfly style that would later define the Terno. But fashion wasn't only for the city elite. In the countryside, women wore a simpler version called the Balintawak. With its checkered skirt, matching blouse, and a light kerchief, it was practical for rural life, yet still graceful. These two dresses, one elegant and formal, the other rustic and everyday, became mirrors of a society balancing tradition and change. Influenced by Spain, reshaped by America, and reimagined by Filipinos themselves, the Terno and Balintawak emerged as cultural icons. They weren't just clothes. They were statements of class, of heritage, of being Filipina. When the Americans arrived in the early 1900s, the Philippines entered a new era. Not just in politics, but also in fashion. Western styles swept through the islands. Men began wearing suits and ties, while women embraced dresses inspired by the Gibson girl look, slim at the waist, flowing at the bottom. But Filipinos did not abandon tradition. The traje de mestiza slowly transformed into the terno, with its now iconic butterfly sleeves. It was elegant, modern, and uniquely Filipino, bridging Western influence with local pride. By the 1930s, during the Commonwealth years, the terno reached its golden age. Women wore it not just at social gatherings, but as a symbol of nationhood. Painters like Fernando Amorsolo captured them in bright rural landscapes, blending fashion with Filipino identity. And while everyday wear leaned toward Western practicality, the Barong Tagalog remained resilient, light, formal, and proudly Filipino. The 1950s to the 1980s became the golden age of the terno, that elegant Filipiniana dress with its signature butterfly sleeves. It was more than fashion. It was a statement of identity. First ladies like Imelda Marcos elevated the terno into a symbol of political power and cultural pride, wearing it on the world stage to present the Philippines as refined, modern, yet distinctly Filipino. Socialites, beauty queens, and even film stars followed, turning the terno into a canvas of glamour and national pride. Meanwhile, the Barong Tagalog became the men's uniform of respectability. Presidents wore it during speeches and state events, embedding it in the image of leadership. Unlike the terno, the barong endured because it was practical, comfortable for the tropical climate, and easy to wear daily. Step into the streets of Manila, Cebu, or Davao today, and you'll see young Filipinos in K-pop-inspired outfits, Western streetwear, and the latest global trends. Fashion is fast, bold, and ever-changing. But here's the twist. Filipinos haven't forgotten their roots. From grade school programs to grand weddings, the baro't saya and barong Tagalog remain part of our identity. Designers now blend tradition with modern flair. Butterfly sleeves reimagined in sleek cuts, piña fabric woven into contemporary gowns, and barongs styled as everyday wear. Competitions like Baliksaya show how a new generation is reviving heritage while making it relevant for today. For Filipinos, fashion has always been more than clothing. It's about pride and appropriateness. The result? A unique style that straddles past and present, proving that even in a world of fast trends, the Filipino spirit of fashion endures. Filipino fashion has always been more than clothing. It's a living story of identity, pride, and resilience. Fashion may change, but our heritage endures. If you enjoyed this journey through our history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next story. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.